This is AOS Shorts. Get better fast.
Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video on AOS Shorts. As I've been saying to a few people now for a while, I've been looking for new ways to use the YouTube channel as a way of not just replicating the podcast content, but instead doing something different and basically adding something to the site. So this is a test video, really. This is a test of proof of concept. We can ignore all the stuff in the background, which is largely just my office. If this goes well, then I'll improve location and sound and other such things. But this wants to be a proof of concept of this week in Age of Sigmar on an AOS short style. So the intention would be to use these videos to give you a recap of everything that's gone on, both officially from Games Workshop and within the wider Age of Sigmar community in terms of events coverage, so that you can know that you've got one-stop shop to catch up on everything if you've sort of been under the radar or had a heavy work week and want to catch up on Age of Sigmar. So let's start with last weekend. So last weekend we had three large events going on. Had the Bravery 1 British Open, which was the largest AOS 2 singles event so far, 80 plus players, covered extensively by the Honest Wargamer over on their Twitch and YouTube channels. Did an absolutely stunning job covering the entire event. Congratulations again to Jack Armstrong, Mr. I need 2 trips to the car in order to carry all my prizes home Armstrong, on taking it out. And there were some other normal regular names up and around the top tables. It was really good to see a lot of see some Daughters, Stormcast, Deepkin, Order Draconis, whole range of different things up at the top, so it was good to see. Over in Australia, we had Brishammer in Brisbane. From all accounts, the event went very well. It was well attended. Going to have a report with the lists up shortly. There was also a one-day event in Northern Ireland, one of probably the first major events in Northern Ireland, called Soulstorm. There's a group of guys in Northern Ireland really committed to growing the local scene there, and I'm going to have a coverage post on the Sigmar scene in the Emerald Isle, both in the Republic and in Northern Ireland, coming up probably over the course of next week. So that was last weekend. What have we seen over the course of this week from Twitch and Warhammer community and the official GW sources? So there's still been quite a bit of Age of Sigmar stuff, despite the large amount of Adeptus Titanicus and Kilty. So on Twitch we had an interview with Ben Johnson covering off the FAQ process, and this was largely a complement to a Warhammer community article that went up on pitch battles in the Mortal Realms, dealing with basically now the large variety of rules in different sources that we have as options available within Match Play Age of Sigmar 2. And we've already seen that event organisers are taking different approaches as to how they want to deal with things like realm spells, realmscapes, and other things like that. One of the interesting things to note from that was that they've expanded the playtesting team. Playtest team has now expanded to 30 plus players from around the world, so good to see. More playtesting can only be a good thing, really. What else have we seen on Warhammer community? There's a Dracoline lore article, so if you want to learn more about lizard cats, you can. There's been coverage of the Nova Open, which is coming up at the end of the month. Major US tournament. An event with narrative and match play and small stuff, and I think there's a 4-day narrative event going on. So lots of things going on at Nova. Chuck Moore at ODIM Twitter, I've never said it out loud, ODIAMH, is the overarching Age of Sigmar TO for that. There was an article on starting at Warhammer AOS, and there was a Age of Sigmar related rumour engine. Again, looks like pointing to Slaanesh, so it might be AOS 40k crossover, but more signs pointing towards the Keeper coming. So that's sort of the official channels. Now, what have I put up on AOS Shorts this week? Well, started this week with an FAQ show and a PDF linking and combining all of the FAQs, the errata and the design and commentary into one document. All text searchable and bookmarked all in one place, so you can find it easily. You don't have to download the sort of 50 plus files that there now are. It's all in one, so you can access it easily. I also did a commentary show on the new FAQs and the changes in light of the sort of first month's worth of feedback on second edition, so you can have a listen to that. Beginning of the week, I also announced a new partnership with Dark Fantastic Mills. They are a purveyor and producer of absolutely top quality 3D printed terrain. Now they've got 4 or 5 main ranges that would be suitable for Age of Sigmar and other wargames, so it would also work for 40k and otherwise. There's a sort of metal themed one, a plague, giant fungus themed one, there's a death themed one, and there's sort of bones and bestial kind of terrain. So I'm doing a partnership with Gary, so I've always loved the stuff and bought several tables worth of it on my own before the partnership. So I'm certainly not recommending something that I haven't put my own money behind and backing. It's really good stuff. So I'm going to have some more videos showing me painting up and building that terrain over the coming weeks. Start of the week had the Bravery 1 British Open recap, so you can find the results there, the coverage, the top 3 lists, the usual sorts of things I cover in event coverage. And then I had 2 showcases. So my showcases are where basically I stumble across a stunning looking army on the internet and ask the person whether or not they'd be willing to share their pictures and sort of the story and what they were going for with the army. So the 2 that I've got this week are Oscar's stunning Stormcast army, which is non-metallic metal across the entire army, which is a staggering feat. Oscar has just taken that to Gen Con. He's at Gen Con at the moment, major largely board games, but other games as well, convention going on in the US at the moment. And Douglas Fazzani's Deepkin is also one of their showcased armies. That got a nomination at Throne of Skulls a couple of weekends ago. Now that's an army with a very effective colour scheme, a very strong colour scheme, and really strong basing in terms of they were all water effect basing and really quite deep water effects. It's not just a bit of a splash, and this was full-on deep water. So wholly worth checking it out. So other things I wanted to cover on the show is sort of what's out this weekend. So out this weekend is more of the Stormcast and Nighthaunt releases. So we've got the Chainrasp Horde kit, we've got the Black Coach, we've got the Sequitur multi-part kit, we've got the Lord Arcanum on Taurolon, which is the Aventus Firestrike, and we've got New White Dwarf. So I've had a look through the New White Dwarf. It's largely dedicated towards Adepticus Titanicus. It's the major release this month. But there's still lots of stuff in there for Age of Sigmar. There's coverage of AOS Champions, which is the new collectible card game that's coming out. There's a Designer's Notes article on the Sacrosanct. I really enjoyed the Designer's Notes one on Nighthaunt, and this is the sort of Stormcast equivalent. There's a Nighthaunt Deepkin battle report if you're particularly keen. It's about 3,000 points, so quite large size armies. And then where the real money is, there's a heavy metal masterclass on markings and insignia. Loving the heavy metal masterclasses since they have come back into White Dwarf in the true deep dive form. There's been some really, really good ones, especially on cloaks and leather and real skill sets which you can use across a variety of models. And there's another great article on dioramas. So I think and how to make effective dioramas. And I think my favourite from that, and it's definitely worth checking out, is there's one from Harvey Snape of the White Dwarf or Warhammer community team on Barak Mornar, which is basically his take of one of the pieces of the artwork from the Caradron Overlords book turned into a diorama. It's a really impressive piece. What is up for pre-order this weekend? What can you sort of put your money down on now? Well, it's effectively the last pieces of the Nighthaunt and Stormcast books. You've got the Evocators on Dracolines. You've got the Lord Ordinator with Astral Grandhammer. That's the gentleman that you may have seen on social media with the unfortunately shaped box. You've got the alternative Lord Executioner. So that's the one with the hourglass that turns time forward or backwards. You've got the Bladeghast Revenants, and you've got the Dread Scythe Harridans kits available too. So that's it in terms of Age of Sigmar releases that is this weekend. Looking a bit forward, you've got the C.L. Werner Black Library book, The Tainted Heart, I believe it's called, coming up as well. There's quite a bit of Age of Sigmar fiction coming up in the Black Library pipeline, so it's good to see really fleshing out the model realms. Now, so last thing I want to touch on before I sort of head off is events this weekend. So we got the major event this weekend is Blackout. So hosted by Chris Tomlin at Firestorm Games down in Cardiff. It's going to be a massive event. I think it's 100 plus players or close to 100 players using the realm rules. So Chris has selected the realm rules. It's going to include realm spells and realm scapes. I'm going to have a coverage post up which will have a link to the pack and how he has done it. But Chris's events always go super well. Chris is a really experienced TO. And he's a guy that uses the rule set that's available. So it's not a surprise to see the realm rules in there. And really looking forward to seeing how the weekend goes. We'll really have a sense of the lie of the land, having had Bravery won British Open last weekend and then Blackout this weekend. A bit closer to home, we've got Call to Arms, which is a 40-player tournament down in Wellington. They're also using the realm rules, pre-selected realm rules in each of the rounds. So I'll have a post up on that with the lists, so you can see the Age of Sigmar 2 lists that are coming out. As always, I try and collect all of the lists and put them onto the tournament list archive on the site. Over in the US, there's an event called Iron Realms. I don't know much about it, but it's over both days this weekend, so I'll try and find out what I can. If you're going to Iron Realms or you know someone going there, ask them to get in touch through Twitter or the Facebook or YouTube and let me know. There's Gen Con. Gen Con's going for 4 days. They've already had the Age of Sigmar singles, which was on the Thursday in the US, and there's a skirmish event on the Sunday. As I said, I think it's largely an absolutely massive board game convention. So you would have seen on Warhammer Community the large number of licensed Warhammer-related board games and offshoots which are getting pushed at Gen Con, including Warhammer 40,000 Munchkin I saw just announced. So that's been going on, and the last event to mention is the European Team Championships. So the European Team Championships was effectively the World Cup of Warhammer under Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition. If you're unfamiliar with it, basically 8-player teams from countries around the world. I think they got to sort of 35, 40 teams, including from New Zealand and Australia, and they would be held in a rotating sort of European city each year, and it was sort of 8 on 8 games of Warhammer across 5-6 rounds, can't quite remember. And with the sort of end of the old world and the death of Warhammer Fantasy, then ETC moved to 9th Age, but there has been moves to try and get Age of Sigmar in. So the Turkish delegation have been organising Age of Sigmar as a side event at this European Team Championships. Now, my understanding is they had about 16 teams lined up for the event who said that they were going, and then Age of Sigmar 2 dropped. The organisers decided that they were going to stay with Age of Sigmar 1 rather than transfer across to Age of Sigmar 2, and 12 teams dropped. So, as far as I'm aware, there are 4 teams competing this year in the European Team Championships using the Age of Sigmar 1 rules. So, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Whether this will continue or whether the future of international Age of Sigmar is more an extension out of the Six Nations, which has been highly successful, or something similar. I don't know, might grow out of the US, who knows. But it would be really good to see the growth of an international team tournament for Age of Sigmar. I know there's certainly been some early discussions between us Kiwis and Aussies to have a Bledisloe Cup equivalent for Age of Sigmar, get some teams going, even in interstate championship, because Team Warhammer is awesome Warhammer. There's nothing quite like the dynamic of a team event. So that's it for now, really. I'm off to Hong Kong for the next few days in the beginning of the week, so hopefully going to try and put another video up and use the flights to record and do some more research for some shows coming up on various things in relation to AOS 2 and the new books. Anyway, that's it for now. Get in touch, let me know what you think of the format, whether or not you can hear it all okay, whether or not you think there's any use in that and what else you'd like covered. Going to try and cover some more videos of work in progress and stuff at the hobby desk as well. But that's it for now. Get in touch. AOS Shorts, aosshorts.com, @AOS_shorts on Twitter, AOS Shorts on Facebook, or aos.shorts@gmail.com. And remember, check out darkfantasticmills.com for everything you need in terms of awesome 3D printed terrain. Anyway, bye for now. Cheers, guys.